There's this Matthew Perry interview with Stephen Colbert that came out a few months ago when he was promoting his autobiography, which incidentally I'm going to do a video about. In that interview, he talks about how when he would drink, reality would move to where it was supposed to be.
I thought that reality was an acquired taste. And, you know, some people, they have a drink and they feel a little wacky, and then that's the night for them. If I have a drink, all of a sudden, reality just moves to where it should be. And so I want to drink all the time.
And that's exactly how I felt as well. It felt like something shifted and all of a sudden the world made sense. I wanted to drink all the time. And yet here I am, 16 months sober. So if I can do it, anyone can do it. I always feel weird talking about sobriety because for me it was something that I was forced into. I mean, it was a choice that I made, but it was also kind of got to the point where it was necessary. I'm an alcoholic, so it was like, you need to stop drinking, or, you know. What I have to say then becomes more relevant because to me, I really didn't think that I could live a life without alcohol. So the fact that I've been able to, sobriety is possible for anyone. I was someone who couldn't imagine a life without drinking, and I am now 16 months without it. We talk about my experience of sobriety so far. It was definitely very hard at the beginning. I went to rehab, so I'm very grateful that I had that time where there was no choice, really. It wasn't like I could go out and buy alcohol. I went through the same process of feeling everything that anyone getting sober will go through in terms of crying, feeling really weird and spacey, feeling irritable, lots of cravings, lots of fatigue. I think this also does get worse as you get older. I was one of the younger people in the centre that I was in, but so many people would talk about how tired they were. I would find myself like wanting to fall asleep at 2 PM, and I'm not the kind of person to take naps. I can't normally do that, but at that point in time I was feeling so sleepy. I don't know if that's something to do with the detox meds that we were on, or if that's to do with your body going through a shift of having alcohol all the time to then suddenly not having it. I think there is also, after quitting drinking, kind of like long-term withdrawal that can result in fatigue. So I definitely felt that at the beginning. Also just really intense mood swings, intense feelings. I was really glad that there were some people in there who had more experience of sobriety. I mean, that was sad. They'd had a chunk of time sober and then relapsed, and then here they were in this treatment centre. When I was going through all of this stuff, they were like, it's completely normal for you to feel all over the place and to have really intense highs and lows. Like, it does lessen over time. And through the last few months, that's definitely what I found. I'm also grateful in that lately I've got to a point where I don't really think about my sobriety anymore. It's more like maintenance. I think about it obviously, and I'm very aware of it, but it's not like a conscious effort like it was at the start, where everything had to be considered in terms of how it would impact my recovery. For example, people talk about like the first time you go around a supermarket, the first time you go to like the shop that you used to buy from a lot. The thing is to never be like afraid of it. It's not to do with that. It's just more to have an awareness of what you're doing. So be like, oh, I'm walking past that aisle now. If you're not in recovery, I guess it would sound silly, but I've also found that the cravings lessen over time. And as I said, I was in treatment, so I was really lucky in that when I did have really intense cravings, I wasn't battling myself like, will I, won't I? Because that can be a big debate that a lot of alcoholics are familiar with. I don't get them anymore now. What I do get instead is this sort of sense of urgency and this desire to run away. But thankfully, at this point, 16 months in, that has sort of detached from the idea of drinking. And that's something that I've been able to grow to recognise and be like, oh, this desire to run away, this is connected with why I used to drink, even if now my instant thought is not, I need a drink. Also learned that community is so important, just feeling connected, having like sober friends that you can check in with. That's what I found has been really helpful. Like my family and friends, they don't really get it, they don't understand. That sounds so ridiculous, because like your friends and family, they're not going to understand it on the same level. There will be some people who think that you're fixed now, like you're all better. And that is the case with some people. I've talked to some people who have been sober for a long time and they don't think about alcohol anymore at all. And it's not something that they consider, and they wouldn't even consider themselves an alcoholic, even though their drinking got so bad that then they had to stop. But for me, it's definitely something that I am living out every day. And so then it's hard when you speak to someone who thinks that now you're all better, and I'm like, it's not going to go away and it could always come back. That's why they talk about one day at a time. You just have to think about, what can I do today to maintain this? I don't have to think about how I'm going to do this for another year or for another 16 months. What can I do today to make my life a bit easier and to carry on this path? Gratitude journaling and just journaling in general has been so life-changing for me, and I'm so glad that my cousin sent me a beautiful journal when I was in rehab, and what a life-changing practice that has been. I have done a few videos about journaling on my channel. I will link one of them up here for you, and I'll also put a link to my journaling playlist in the description. Another benefit to getting sober is that I've learnt how to sit with my feelings and to sort of not detach, but to kind of have a bit of mindfulness about it. I don't have to engage with every single thought that I have. I don't have to get emotionally invested with everything that goes through my head. Just be like, this is okay, this will pass, it's feeling really intense now, but later on I could completely turn this day around and I can be having a lovely evening. I can go sit with a book and have just a really lovely evening. I don't have to be defined by whatever horrible feeling I'm going through in this moment. I don't have to get so attached to the way that I'm feeling. It's such a skill to learn to sit with uncomfortable emotions. Some more benefits: I sleep better now. To be honest, I've always had a problem with sleep. Even since I was a child, I can remember struggling to get to sleep. And I would say now I still do struggle with sleep, but that's more emotional issues than actual insomnia. I'm scared of sleep, basically. But before, I would have horrible dreams, I would have really broken sleep, I would wake up at 8 in the morning and it would feel like I hadn't even been to sleep because I was so tired. Technically, you don't really sleep in the same way when you have been drinking. Alcohol alters the way that your brain works, so you're not in the same level of sleep. It's not restorative in the same way as now when I go to bed and I'm sober and I have a nice sleep, I feel refreshed, whereas before I wasn't. I may have been passed out or in bed for 8 hours for the same amount of time as I am now, but it wasn't restful sleep. I am present now, I have experiences, I can appreciate things, and I've learnt to find the joy in the little moments. And you can have fun sober. Who knew? My mood is better. I think this is a virtuous cycle thing. There are some instances where being depressed or having low mood is a normal reaction to your circumstances. Just speaking from my experience, I was inside a lot. When I was drinking, I was not really moving at all. I wasn't eating well. We talked about not sleeping well. I wasn't taking care of myself, so I didn't feel good about the way that I was in the world. I was then trapped in a vicious cycle, and now that I've stopped drinking, I have more energy, I sleep better, and so it then becomes a virtuous cycle. But aside from that, alcohol is a depressant, so it does affect your mood. Even if you don't realise it, it can also increase your anxiety. So just in general, removing that, I've noticed a big benefit. And given that it's been 16 months, I really now have a big chunk of time to look over and assess how things have gone, how my mood has changed. And it's been pretty stable, to be honest. There have been a couple of really bad low mood episodes. It was more so brought on by circumstances. Another benefit that I have been so grateful for is that I have got my appetite back. Towards the end of my addiction, I was just drinking a lot and not really eating very much. Certainly, I was still eating something, but it wasn't really enough. But now, I enjoy food, I like cooking, I enjoy making multicolored meals, eating lots of veggies, different flavors, hummus or guacamole, or making a tahini lemon yogurt garlic dip and putting that as a salad dressing or with some crackers and cheese, making Caesar salad dressing. Side note, Caesar salad dressing is so easy to make at home. I will put the recipe that I use in the description. I love it so much and it's unbelievably easy to make. You can make a batch of it and then have it throughout the week and mix it in with your salads or whatever. Highly recommend. You can see I get quite excited about food, about cooking. So to have that, that's been a huge benefit of my sobriety. I also feel reconnected to myself. I've learned to like myself. It's ridiculous. I've learned to be myself again and just to kind of be happy about the way that I am. That's something that I felt really uncomfortable with at the start of this 16-month so far journey. To have that sense of self back has been really wonderful. What else have I put? No hangovers. An obvious benefit for anyone who is not drinking. And given how bad my hangovers were, this is a real benefit. For example, I woke up at 7 a.m. today, which is pretty early for a recent graduate night owl like me. I I had a really peaceful morning. I went for a nice walk. The sun's coming out now. I could not have had a morning like this when I was still drinking. I'm happy to have made this video, even if it's just for me to document how things are going so far. I hope it has resonated with you in some way. If you know someone who's struggling with addiction, or you yourself are struggling with alcohol, recovery is possible. Maybe you can take some hope from my experience. I will leave my video 9 ways that getting sober helped me glow up, so you can check that out if you want. I will also leave my sobriety and recovery playlist for more videos around this topic. God bless, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.